Tonight on To The Point.
Anyone who really knows California knows that the state of our state is strong and resilient.
Governor Newsom praising California as the state deals with a budget deficit. The reaction tonight from both sides. Plus, the controversial plan to create a new city in Solano County. What's next for California forever?
I want people to understand that this is a public health concern of great urgency.
Tonight, the Surgeon General declaring gun violence a public health crisis. The solutions he says are needed. And later, preserving otherwise forgotten family recipes. Hear from a Sacramento couple bringing the community together through baked goods. But first tonight, we are following breaking news in Sacramento. Right now, crews are searching the American River near Rancho Cordova for a teenager. And this is happening at Clay Banks Park. It started around 3 p.m. when Sac Metro Fire got reports of 2 people in the water. The man was recovered, but they are still searching for that teenager. And we are monitoring the situation, and we'll bring you updates as we get them on air and online at abc10.com. As always, thank you so much for joining us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell, and we start tonight with a question. What is the state of California? Governor Gavin Newsom releasing a pre-recorded version of the address to social media today. Typically, governors deliver that speech in front of state lawmakers. ABC 10's Becca Habegger joins us in studio tonight with more on what was said and the response from both sides. Right, Becca?
Yeah, Alex, in his pre-recorded State of the State video, Governor Newsom touted California's progressive values and railed against what he calls forces of darkness in our country, which he says threatens those values. But after the video was released, Republican lawmakers gathered on the state capitol steps to push back on Newsom's claims.
There's only one state in America with a dream, the California dream.
In his State of the State video, Governor Gavin Newsom touted California's protection of reproductive rights, fight for common sense gun control, commitment to environmental justice, innovation, and more. He also took a broader, more national look at divisions between red states and blue states.
Catering to big business and the rich is also why red states tax their lowest earners far more than California does. You pay a higher percentage of taxes if you're poor in Texas than you do if you're wealthy in California. It's about who you're fighting for.
Everyday Californians know they pay the highest taxes, but they also pay some of the highest gas, to get to work. They pay some of the highest utility bills. So nobody is deceived, that Gavin Newsom has somehow lowered costs or that taxes are reasonable in the state.
Assembly Republican leader James Gallagher and Republican State Senator Brian Daly criticized Newsom's speech.
He's talking about national issues when the issues are here at home.
Democratic consultant Andrew Acosta says focusing on national issues makes sense.
Not a shock. There's a debate on Thursday. I think the average voter is probably now switching into what's going on between Trump and Biden, not, hanging on every word of the governor's State of the State. So his message framework definitely seemed to be aligned with, sort of base Democratic politics.
Voters are really struggling in California, right? And the disappointment with Gavin's speech today is he didn't really talk about that at all.
Republicans questioned why Newsom released his speech as a video instead of a live address to state lawmakers.
I believe the reason he didn't is because the State of the State is not very healthy.
Acosta says the pre-recorded video doesn't bother him, and he believes the governor is leading the state in the right direction.
I think the governor is, sort of in a bind that he's trying to fight a battle on 2 fronts. One of them is what's happening here when it comes to retail theft and fentanyl and homelessness, all issues that aren't easy. That being said, he's still leading the charge when it comes to issues on gun control and choice and being a beacon when it comes to a state that's welcoming to all.
And for a few of his State of the State addresses, Governor Newsom has bucked the trend of delivering a speech to the legislature. Last year, for example, he sent a letter to state lawmakers and then embarked on a 4-day statewide tour to highlight his major policy goals. And in 2021, during the pandemic, we should point out, he gave his speech from an empty Dodger Stadium, as you may recall.
All right, Becca, thank you. And the governor's State of the State comes just days after state leaders made an agreement on the state's $298 billion budget. But as the governor touted the state's success, there was not much mention of the budget in Newsom's speech. State leaders announced the budget agreement over the weekend, which they say solves a $47 billion deficit. It comes with $16 billion in reductions to areas including cuts to healthcare workforce programs, affordable housing programs, programs and the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. In the governor's speech, we heard a few mentions of the budget, including one referencing the state approving its first ever 2-year balanced budget, and another that the state knows how to balance budgets while protecting families and vulnerable populations. The president of the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association says they're not surprised.
The budget is the most important bill the legislature passes every year. No, it doesn't surprise me that he doesn't mention it. I mean, he seems to focus on other grievances, taking shots at what he calls red states like Florida and Texas. But those are the states that people are moving to.
Budget talks have been ongoing for months now. The state of the state was initially scheduled for March, but delayed as the governor awaited the results of Prop 1. We did reach out to the governor's office, who said mentions of the state budget are consistent with past years. And you can read more about the State of the State address and the budget right now. Just head to our website, abc10.com. Turning now to the wildfire that we're tracking out in Butte County. Evacuation orders and warnings are still in effect for the Apache fire. The fire is burning south of Oroville near Apache Hill Road and Crestmont Avenue. CAL FIRE says it's burned almost 700 acres and is 15% contained. 2 structures have already been destroyed. Out in Placer County, forward progress has stopped on the Amoruso fire. The fire started Monday evening near Sunset Boulevard and Amoruso Way. It has burned about 500 acres and is about 80% contained. In other news tonight, a man who drowned in the Middle Fork of the American River near Placer County has been identified. The El Dorado County Sheriff's Office identified the man as 33-year-old Mohammed Fahim Hamadi of Sacramento. CAL FIRE says the family was in the water at the beach area, and at some point it took them in. Multiple people saw 3 of the family members go under, and they called 911. The 33-year-old was declared dead on scene, and a 15-year-old was taken to the hospital where they later died. Meanwhile, in Placer County, the search continues for a missing jet skier at Rollins Lake. Deputies say they were called to the lake on Monday afternoon after 3 people fell off a jet ski. 2 of the 3 were pulled from the water. A man has remained unaccounted for. Several dive teams, cadaver dogs, and sonar technology are all being used to try to locate the man. The community is being asked to avoid the lake. In Sacramento, 1 person is dead and 2 others are in the hospital after a crash on I-80 this morning. It happened just north of Fulton Road. CHP says the driver lost control of the car, it overturned and then caught on fire. The driver died at the scene. And tonight, cleanup is underway in Sutter County after a crop duster plane crashed into a truck, spilling fuel, and it all happened near Nicholas Avenue and Pleasant Grove Road. CHP says the plane clipped a fence at the end of the runway, then plowed into the truck. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Coming up onto the point, hundreds pack a room as Solano County supervisors vote on the controversial California Forever.
Still tracking a few showers and thunderstorms for tonight, how long they stick around, and the cool down on the way.
And later, as we celebrate Pride, hear how a Sacramento couple is preserving recipes and bringing the community together through baking.
If we don't learn these recipes, these too will also be forgotten. So we're happy to bring them to the community.
So I'm sure many of you, like myself this morning, went out for a walk, saw a lot of clouds. It was very warm. And I even felt little sprinkles. Is that right, Monica?
I know. I heard them kind of pitter patter on the roof, and I looked out and I went, oh, good. Forecast verified.
I was like, am I dreaming?
I always like when at least I see a few of those sprinkles when you call for it, right? As far as the showers and thunderstorms, they are mainly moving north and off to the east right now, still tracking a few lightning strikes, and we'll be following that throughout tonight. Central and northern part of the Sacramento Valley really seeing most of the shower activity for today. This is very light, though, in nature. Not a whole lot of active lightning strikes right now throughout the northern part of the state. Future weather for tonight, we hang on to the cloud cover at least through about 8 to 9 o'clock. So right about sunset, we'll start to see those clouds thin out. Overnight lows will fall to about 60, a nicer crisp start to tomorrow morning as opposed to this morning when we started off the cloud cover, kind of that humid feel outside. And that gave us a jump start on reaching these highs once again in the upper 90s to right around 100 in the valley, 90s in the foothills, and 80s for this year. This is about the end of it, though. That high pressure ridge is going to move off to the east, supported by these lows moving to the north of us, helping to initiate that onshore flow. Temperatures will fall back to near average for the next couple of days before we get that jump up back into the 100s. Highs in the 70s tomorrow for this year, with 80s and 90s throughout the foothills, 60s along the coast, with 70s and 80s moving in through the coastal valley area and the delta. Highs in the 90s throughout the valley. Now, we're still a little close to 100 for Patterson, Turlock, Yuba City, and Colusa, but we'll start to see those temperatures cool a little bit more by Thursday. As far as our 5-day regional forecast, no more thunderstorms expected throughout the mountains. We'll keep it dry and a little bit cooler. As for the valley, we'll stay in the 90s through the weekend before we get into the holiday week, which includes 4th of July and highs close to 100.
All right, Monica, thank you. Coming up next, on To the Point, the controversial California Forever plan. We break it all down, plus a historic announcement, the Surgeon General declaring gun violence a public health crisis. And then counting down to the first presidential debate, how Biden and Trump are both preparing. The future of California Forever, a proposed new city in Solano County, trying to make it on the November ballot, is being heard by the Board of Supervisors. ABC 10's Devin Truby has followed this since the very beginning. And Devin, what happens next?
Yeah, Alex, with a unanimous vote, the Board of Supervisors decided that they are going to request an impact report, which will be due in 30 days. That was one of 3 options on the table: either approve the city as is, approve for it to go to the ballot, or to have the impact report. Here's what residents had to say. More than 200 people gathered outside the Solano County Board of Supervisors meeting Tuesday, sending it to the overflow rooms.
And yes, you can put it in my backyard.
We need the 30-day report. I worked at Caltrans. I'd like to see a Caltrans traffic study done.
California Forever, it acts to protect its own plan and its own profits.
Public comment to California Forever, a proposed new city, was mixed. County staff recommended an impact report to the board. CEO and founder Jan Schramik spoke, but he didn't push for the ballot.
We ask you to order the report. The East Solano plan is a bold plan to invest $30 billion into Solano County over the next 15 years, create tens of thousands of new homes, and create tens of thousands of new jobs.
But California Forever still struggles with some of the same scrutiny from residents. How can they trust a group that started buying land in secret? Residents are also concerned over resources like water and other infrastructure. They showed their support at the meeting, like stoplights. Red shirts, stop, don't build. Green shirts, go.
ESP due to alleviate the already overcrowded classrooms in Vacaville, Fairfield, Dixon, and Rio Vista.
Over the last 30 years on the Orderly Growth Initiative, and that this goes completely against that and what Solano County voters have voted for before.
Others asked the Board of Supervisors to move Solano County forward into the future with a group willing to make the investment.
People who this plan would serve the most are currently working. They can't show up to a meeting in the middle of the day on a Tuesday. So I'm asking that you move this directly to the ballot in November to allow those people to have their voices heard.
And allow the new generation to bring in the evolutionary leading-edge technology that will transform that land into abundance.
County staff and outside consultants will now spend the next 30 days creating this impact report. The county wants to reassure residents they've already started working towards this. They had a feeling that this was coming. Reporting in Solano County, Devin Truby, ABC 10.
It was a violent weekend across the Sacramento region. In just a 24-hour period from Saturday night into Sunday afternoon, Sacramento County deputies and police responded to 4 shootings. 2 people died and several others were hurt.
It's a very violent weekend. This is not something we're accustomed to, but at the same time, it's a little predictable. Obviously, right now, summertime's here. A lot more people are out. Kids are out of school.
Just yesterday, 2 more shootings were reported in North Highlands. Right now, officials say both people are expected to survive. And as gun violence plagues our nation, the U.S. Surgeon General issuing its first warning, declaring it a public health crisis. Dr. Vivek Murthy noting gun violence is the leading cause of death for children and teens, stating the death rate is at least 5 times higher than any other high-income country, with 6 out of 10 adults worrying their loved one will become a victim.
It's why half of kids are saying that they're worried about a shooting taking place in their school. This is what I hear all across America when I meet with kids and with parents. And if we understand the full extent of this toll, if we understand that this is now a kids issue, then my hope is that we can respond with greater urgency and address this as a public health challenge that it is.
Dr. Murthy says solutions are possible, like funding for research, legislation, and community programs. He also says action from lawmakers can change the culture related to gun violence. And let's go ahead and turn now to the race for the White House, the first presidential debate. President Biden and former President Donald Trump will face off Thursday night right here on ABC 10. Ahead of the debate, President Biden is preparing by hunkering down at Camp David with over a dozen aides. Sources say one of Biden's top goals on that debate stage will be to hold Trump accountable for his actions as president.
Here's what Donald Trump says about your freedom. After 50 years of failure, with nobody coming even close, I was able to kill Roe v. Wade. Decades of progress shattered just because the last guy got 4 years in the White House.
Trump is not formally preparing for Thursday's debate, but he has held more than a dozen policy discussions with current and former advisors. And though he has attacked Biden's stamina and mental fitness for months, with the debate approaching, Trump is now calling the president a worthy debater, saying he's not underestimating him.
How should I handle him? Should I be tough and nasty and just say you're the worst president in history? Or should I be nice and calm and let him speak?
Trump insists he has no debate strategy. And again, you can watch the CNN debate Thursday night right here on ABC 10 starting at 5 p.m. Next, on To The Point, as we celebrate Pride, hear from a Sacramento couple bringing the community together through baked goods. All right, so throughout the month of June, ABC 10 is highlighting community stories for Pride Month. And tonight we're introducing you to the couple behind a brand new bakery out in South Sacramento. ABC 10's Alicia Machado takes us into the kitchen to learn more about their story and the inspiration behind their shop's baked goods.
On Stockton Boulevard in South Sacramento, a once forgotten space getting new life.
This building was abandoned for 12 years.
With a new coat of paint and a whole lot of elbow grease, this fixer-upper now has space for the community to break bread.
We kind of wanted this space to be something that the community can share. Meet each other, hang out.
Hang out with a freshly baked bagel or empanada in hand at Forgotten Bakery.
Order 45?
It's owned by Robbie Naeem and Paul Dollar. The business partners, also partners in life. They met in Miami and have been together for 5 years, moving to the Colonial Heights area a few years ago and opening up shop in March.
My partner actually came up with the name. It has to do with the location.
Paul tells us the small building used to be a bar called the Sea Shanty until it was left vacant for more than a decade. The area of Stockton Boulevard has also seen better days. But not just the location. Paul and Robbie also dusting off old family recipes for their baked goods.
If we don't learn these recipes, these too will also be forgotten. So we're happy to bring them to the community.
Fittingly, on the corner of Baker Avenue, Forgotten Bakery brings together 2 childhood memories from Paul and Robbie. Robbie's father and mother were bagel makers who owned a bakery in the Bay Area for 20 years. He grew up behind the counter.
5 years old, they used to, take me to the bakery and I'd start making bagels and playing with dough. And my partner, Paul, comes from a Chilean background, and he's been making empanadas his whole life. So we kind of merged the two together and decided to, create something fun.
Every day I think about my mother when I make my food. Empanadas are a labor of love. It's kind of like tamales. It's an all-day event. Everybody helps make them for holidays. When we make empanadas, you're family.
The empanadas are hand-folded and offered in a variety of savory and sweet flavors. Paul's favorite, the Chilean, a beef empanada filled with onions, olives, raisins, and hard-boiled egg.
They're always hot with lots of filling.
And Robbie's signature, the Forgotten Bagel with chive cream cheese, bacon, and jalapeno. What makes these bagels so special?
This is the beer fermented dough.
The dough is fermented overnight, hand-rolled and boiled in honey water, baked fresh each morning. And their baked goods are getting the attention of locals and visitors coming out to support the new shop.
When we saw the crowds of people coming from around here, coming back every day, it was really special for us.
A once forgotten space now known.
Have a great day.
In South Sacramento, Alicia Machado, ABC 10.
Me and Monica are literally in here like, ooh, we can't wait to go check out this bakery. And if you want to go check them out, the bakery is open Thursday through Sunday from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And you can learn more about the shop by visiting our website, abc10.com. All you have to do is just check out the links tab. As always, thank you so much for watching and for inviting us into your home. If you have something you think we should be looking into, make sure to reach out to me and the team. And I do want to mention, we are off tomorrow and Thursday because of the NBA draft and presidential debate, but we will be right back here on Friday. Have a great night. I'll see you then. Hey, it's Alex. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. The To The Point team and I love hearing from you, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. And don't forget, you can always email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send us a text message at 916-321-3310.